there, it's Kevin with GatheringMagic.com here with this week's episode of the Rogues Alley. This week we have a goodie for you. This comes from a good friend of mine, Tyler. He posted a deck list, an article actually, over at my site, roguedeckbuilder.com, utilizing Axis of Mortality. Axis of Mortality states at the beginning of your upkeep, you may have two target players exchange life totals. So we're going to try to brew around this card. The main two finishers after our life total is going to be low is going to be Gonti's Machinations and Walking Ballista. So Walking Ballista, either on 1 or 2, the sweet spot would be putting our own life total at 1 or 2, or the Machinations, we're going to want our life total at 3, and then be able to sacrifice it to then kill off our opponent. Of course, we have a few of these stacks, we can get our life total down a little bit closer to that level. So anyway, how we enable that is some fun cards out of the new vampires out of Ixalan, being Adanto Vanguard and Glorifier of Dusk. We're going to run 4 Adanto Vanguards in the list, which has the ability to pay 4 life, and it will gain indestructible until end of turn. So this is an activation without any mana, which means we can use this over and over and over to our heart's desire and basically drain ourselves to that sweet spot, switch our opponent's life total, and then ping them off. The Glorifier of Dusk has increments of 2, which is a little bit easier to get to that sweet spot, but it does have the high cost of 5 mana. So we're going to run a playset of the Vanguards and just 1 Glorifier of Dusk. The Axis of Mortalities are just going to be a 3 of. We're going to try to get there through card draw engines, which we'll talk about in a second. So you can kind of compare the lists as you go along. If you go over to my website, we'll have links in the description of Tyler's build and compare it to what I've built. Tyler is heavier on kind of the attrition and the control. I'm heavier on clogging the board up with creatures, because for the card drawing engine, which has the best synergy with the Machinations, I like the Glint-Sleeve Siphoner. Glint-Sleeve Siphoner states at the beginning of your upkeep, you may pay 2 energy if you do draw a card and lose 1 life. So it's an easy way to kind of rinse and repeat with the Machinations. You will find ways, if your opponent even attacks in, you'll have some energy early. Cards like the Ifnir Deadlands, you can ping yourself per turn. You can use the white one too, but I think the white desert that kind of drains is a lot more narrow than a control card for this deck. But anyway, that's a quick way to get energy on the Machinations. And then when the Siphoner actually does drain, it'll count as you losing a life, and then you'll get another energy from the Gonti's Machinations. So Gonti Machinations states, whenever you lose life for the first time each turn, you get an energy. And they can pay 2 life to sacrifice it for each opponent lose 3 life and gain life equal to the life lost this way. So that's going to be the whole theory with our card draw with the Siphoner. The other card draw is going to be through Arguel's Bloodfast. This is one that Tyler goes very heavy on. I decided that it's way too clunky, especially in multiples. It allows you to 2 and pay 2 life, so 1 and a black, to draw a card. And if at the beginning of your upkeep you have 5 or less life, you can transform it, and allows you to sacrifice creatures to gain life equal to the creature's toughness. Also turns into a land that can tap for mana. So it is a nice little like mana dump, but it is quite intensive on the 2 mana and 2 life, because we are trying to stabilize. In fact, I am running quite a bit of life gain, or at least a way to gain life in this deck, as it doesn't really matter where our life total is at when we cast the Axis of Mortality. If we have a way to drain our own life, it's going to be very easy for us to then have that 1-2 punch through the Axis of Mortality and Walking Ballista / the Machinations. So I'm not expecting a breakout deck with this. It's just a fun little deck to utilize Axis of Mortality. It's something you can run at your FNM. I'm not expecting this to be at any sort of Pro Tour level. I guess we mess around with the numbers here and there. We could probably fine tune it more. That's why I'm probably not going to queue it up in a 2-man or in a league. We're just going to play some 2-mans and make changes as we go. So we'll update it as we go as needed. Anyway, let's get right to that. You can follow along in the description as well as in the comment section with the timestamps of the games. We'll play 4 games. All right, match number 1. I think this is keepable. We have the makings of what we need. We still need the life drain and the exchange life total, but it's a pretty decent little hand here with 3 lands, being able to cast everything. And we have pretty good start. Next turn we can go Walking Ballista, and then the turn after that have a Harvester. We are on a bit of a time clock if this is going to be the old school approach to Second Sun cycling deck. Yeah, it's going to be very slow. I'm actually going to play the Ifnir Deadlands here and do a damage, because I'm pretty sure that's what we're playing, so I want the energy. See if this gets censored. It does not. Okay. So we're in pretty good shape. I wonder if Harvester's the right play or not. Okay, so I think that's the better play, is just to chuck one of each out. So again, I'm gonna ping myself. Whoops, should have done that the other way around. Do you know what? Maybe the Harvesters actually is going to do more damage in the long term than the Machinations and the... We'll go Harvester here and attacking for 1. All right, now we're really on a time clock. My opponent, it looks like they missed their land drop, though. There's a Gideon. That doesn't allow us to go both, so... Gideon and the Machinations is probably the better play. Gideon could be a tough card for my opponent to deal with, too, because we're just going to emblem right now. So my opponent needs a cast out. And effectively, my opponent's down to now a 10 with the 2 Machinations that can trigger off. And this, draws a card? And then next turn it gets the mana ramp. Don't have to worry about a Fumigate. Really? We're swinging for 7 next turn. Another Bounty of the Luxa. That is going to be rough. Again, though, my opponent does have to find an answer for Gideon. And this is going to be a quick clock. Another Walking Ballista. What's more? No, it's definitely put out the Vanguard. And crew. swing in. So my opponent's effectively at a 1. No, we win the game here. 3, 6, yep. Wow, this actually ends up being a pretty aggressive. Little draw. My opponent did miss a land drop and had kind of a weaker hand. But the Gideon was going to be a card that was going to be very, very rough for my opponent, I think, to deal with to begin with until that cast. So we're going to end up using Duresses. We don't need like Aethersphere Harvesters. We don't need... we'll bring in the Lost Legacies, of course. We don't need the Fatal Pushes. And yeah, this is pretty much it. Do we have any other control cards that we don't want? It doesn't look like it. Everything now has a place. And this is the matchups I think we're going to do very well. Because between the 4 Duresses and the 4 Kitesail Freebooters, we should be in really, really good shape. I think a lot of these matchups we're actually going to win this way more than with the Axis. Well, MTG does not want to give us a land. We'll have to shift this one back. And this is keepable. I'm actually going to throw that away. We want to hit land drops here for that Lost Legacy to name the approach. I'm pretty sure that's what this deck is. 99.9% sure. Unfortunately, we did not hit a land. But we do have the Siphoner. I believe the Siphoner is better next turn. Yeah, it definitely is. We do have to worry about Censor, but not when our opponent doesn't have a blue mana, so that's good. And this ends up being a pretty ideal play with the Siphoner, because this will draw us a card and then loop the Machinations, which is actually a really, really good synergy. So it looks like another mana ramp here is going to occur. Gift of Paradise is awesome because it's something we can actually cast out. We missed the land, but see if we get off our draw. We do. Awesome. And it's actually a really good one for the Machinations because we can throw out... I can actually just name Lost Legacy here and see if my opponent just scoops. And we have a Awakening Sun's Avatar, a Spring to Mind, Settle the Wreckage, Bounty of Luxa. We get the win con, but let me see what else would be. The other win con would be the Awakening and just Sandworm. Nissa can also be. So my opponent did bring in some other ways to win, but the approach is gone. So I don't know if we needed to use this that quickly. We'll use the Freebooters will take out the Spring to Mind most likely. It's gonna be hard for my opponent to get to the Awakening Sun. Maybe, yeah, this would have been definitely better to run the Kite Sailor out there and take the bounty, but again, this is going to be tough. Yeah, we assumed that was going to happen. we're effectively drawing 2 cards a turn with the Siphoner. And we draw the cast out, which is awesome, but we miss the land drop. So, of course, that's not ideal. Put out another Machinations. And we'll go Freebooter. Can't get a creature, but this can take that Spring to Mind. And we can take the Settle the Wreckage. I'm not sure we care about that. Take the other Gift of Paradise, I'm assuming here. The Spring to Mind is also pretty good to take. The Settle the Wreckage, I don't think I care too much about. So it is going to be Spring. We can hopefully take the bounty with the cast out next turn. We have 2 draws again. That will take, or we could take the gift. No, we want to take the card draw away. Geez, we could just die the dinosaurs anyway next turn, so because it has the mana if. All right, let's hope to get the land here. There it is. Wait, if we take the Gift of Paradise, does it take it off of the ability for the Awakening Sun? If not, that's 2 mana of any color. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is that what the Awakening Sun avatar costs? We're going to cheat here. And it's 8. So let's go back. And we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I think 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. My opponent has a land drop. Huh. Allows my opponent to run the Mind. So I do need to take my opponent off white, I believe. I think that's the better play. Because this only adds blue, correct? Yeah, blue and colorless. So again, Spring to Mind can happen. I'm not quite sure how long I can keep off that white. I mean, long term, the bounty is going to be tough. And I'm surprised that my opponent decided to cycle the Beneath. Because I think that at that point you want to go get the other white source. I don't actually know how many white sources my opponent is running. That actually could be... I mean, we looked through the deck, but there could be a lack of just white source, just basic planes. Because we could be running the 4 cycling blue-white ones and the 4 cycling white-green ones. Going to cast out my cast out possibly? Or my freebooter, either one works, yeah. And play the Gift of Paradise back. At this point, though, it's killing less. I know that's my opponent's win con, though, is going to be the dinosaur. And we do have the Deadlands that can kind of nullify it. Make it a lot weaker. And I hate to run these freebooters out because they just die, don't they? So again, so there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and my opponent has a land. We get blown out. I'm gonna cast it, see what's in the hand. Take the Fumigate. We could take both of them. I don't know if that's the right play or not. Because they'll get the Fumigate and the other one back. Yeah, difficult little... Just need to avoid my opponent drawing a land, which is most likely not going to be the case. That does hurt. And now, still missing land drops. Walking Ballista is kind of awkward. It gives us something to chump block with. Well, I think we do Freebooter again. Take the bounty. We might as well go with the Ballista just on 1. Now, it's tough to attack in because of that. I think I'll just take the damage. Just going to decide to go on a Fumigate. That kills my opponent's card, though. Wants the other bounty. I'm okay with that. That kills his Awakening Sun. So really wants that bounty back. But, I mean, what's the point? Just drawing a ton of cards at this. Find a tap land. And we'll throw out a Gather. Or Glorifier of Dusk. Puts a pretty decent clock. I know my opponent does have the Exile card in hand. These bounties are going to give a lot of cards, but is there still like only one Awakening Sun left? I mean, that allows me to basically nullify it with an Ifnir Deadlands, so it can't attack into my... Oh, I guess my Glorifier's out, so it's going to kill it, but... And the 2 Oasises, that's pretty decent as well, but... Yeah, we'll be attacking in with the Glorifier. The Duress is nice. See if the Settle the Wreckage wants to happen. I'm okay with this getting exiled for a land. What is this Sanguine Sacrament? You gain X life. Well, let's take the Settle the Wreckage, I guess. So my opponent's going to gain a bunch of life here, which is fine. Because we can always... exchange the life. Man, this one's going to go the distance. My opponent gets a ton of mana. No, it's, yeah. So it has no counters. Yeah, tons of mana. So the Spring to Mind will be most likely cast this turn. We do know the one card in hand is the other Settle. Or the other, other gain life. And my opponent will just use that this turn. Be pretty funny if I get an exchange life. We still haven't seen that yet. Up to 60 life. Sure. Now we get the lands. Card draw would be awesome. My opponent's looking for that next Awakening Sun's avatar. If I can get the Walking Ballista up to 7, that's where we want to be. Another bounty of the Luxa. The Vanguard is pretty meh. I think we just keep attacking in. So draw a ton of cards here. Our Promise is going to get some zombies, so now we have to play a little more defensively. And there's another Hour of Promise. And Authority of the Consuls, which doesn't do a lot versus us. Cast out, I'm going to save most likely. I think the right play here is to play the other Walking Ballista. For 3. Gives us another blocker that can kill the zombies. This does come into play tap, though. But that's fine. Not that big of a deal. Because I think the only other win con left in my opponent's deck was that the other Awakening Sun's Avatar. I don't know if there's any other rinse and repeat type card. The Lost Legacy did its job. And Our Promises, that's the other way. Even though my opponent can attack him with these and effectively get through with 2 of them, that's not the greatest play here because we go down to a... Yeah, so I'm just going to block 2 of them. I could even shoot off another, but I don't think that matters. The Machinations aren't necessary at the moment. And Oases are sorcery speed, so we'll go ahead and block and block. Okay, it's Awakened Sun Avatar is rough. I can't do the damage now through the Walking Ballista, so I'm going to do as much damage as possible to my opponent. And unfortunately, though, my opponent might have some more cast outs to deal with what I... Another Deadlands. Can we effectively kill it off? How much is it? It costs 5. So I'm wondering if it's better to do that. I think we can use the cast out, and then my opponent can use a cast out on my cast out. Guess I could have put out the Vanguard there. So one more Hour of Promise possibly in my opponent's deck. Oh, Nissa. I think Nissa does work here. Yeah, we did forget about Nissas. So the Waking Sun Avatar is a real threat. Hard to deal with. Opponent's going to gain a lot of life, though. I don't think I have enough. Yes, I do. I can barely survive here. And I think I do this. Oh, that's sorcery speed as well. Yeah, that's true. So I am just going to crack the 2. And go down to 2, I believe. I think this is better because the Nissa is a lot more rough to deal with. That's actually really tough. Yeah. Yeah, actually, that hadn't been activated, had it? So I had to draw into multiple ways to deal with cards here. We'll cast the cast out. Should have done that in response, and I won't have to deal with Nissa. I think we lose this, though. Crazy. My opponent was able to come back. Yeah, the Blood Feast does not do it. Yeah, either way, we go down. Because we could go... Yeah, put the counters on here. Well, let's see what our opponent does. No, it comes into play tapped anyway. All right. We'll go on to the sideboard here. Everything was fine. The bounties, not being able to rip out the bounty early was the big deal. Like the win cons are very, very low. We needed to just get our Walking Ballistas a little bit higher. Possibly I shouldn't have blocked there, because that was the way my opponent won the game, was to grind out with the zombies, and then not being able for me to remove enough counters to kill off the last dinosaur. I'm actually thinking about bringing in just a Fumigate for that, but I doubt it. Or Vraska's Contempt. We can bring in Vraska to Contempt for like this Glorifier of Dusk, and possibly we can take out a Even a Machinations at this point might be the right one to take out. Or possibly just a land. Didn't see Gideon? No, Gideon wouldn't have been very good in that scenario. Yeah. We'll just go to 23 lands. Well, getting punished for that. We'll have to ship this one back. And we got the Lost Legacy, so that's fine. I don't want to get rid of a cast out. We can cast the Lost Legacy. We definitely want that one on top. Okay. So if I get rid of the... No, I think my opponent has so many ways to ramp. It's not very relevant. I mean, I could get rid of the bounties with the Lost Legacy, but that still allows my opponent some... I still want to name Approach, but we're going to try Bounty this time. So my opponent just went down to one Approach. It looks like Fumigate, Nissa, Spring to Mind. Wait, there's is still the Awakening. Okay, so 4 Gifts of Paradise is still. Nissa, Vital Force. We have the cast out for my opponent also has a cast out. Possibly could have named the Awakening Sun's Avatar there. Settle the Wreckage. Authority Console still is a 2, so Approach was just as a 1. Still has a Greater Sandworm in there. But that was the main thing, was the bounties were giving my opponent so much card advantage. Now we've ripped out the card advantage. All right, we have to play fast too, so we're down to low time. I don't like using the cast out because my opponent has one. Unfortunately, now we're getting the opposite. We're getting flooded. And here comes Nissa. So I guess we're racing. Unfortunately, that's not the card I wanted. And I can't hit the cast out with... Can I do this? I'm trying to think math-wise. Other than my opponent's got the cast out for... my Walking Ballista. But I think that's the only way we're going to win this. Is by going to the face. Cycles it away. That's good news. I guess my opponent can -3 Nissa to get it back. Interesting plays by my opponent, deciding to go this route. Kitchen of Paradise is annoying because that is pivotal 3 life. I most likely will get hit by 5 here as well. But I'm not sure that's relevant. There's another Gonti's Machinations, so I think my opponent wants to +1 again. So I'm going for the damage route. Because we have it next turn. Oh, he's got the life. So gains 12 life. I guess that's fine. Because we'll kill Nissa next turn. I'll be down to a 5. Puts me at a kind of an awkward position, but we do have the 2 Gontis. And they are ready to tick. Unfortunately, we hit yet another one. When it's down to a 19. That sucks. My opponent did hit the Awakening Sun's avatar. So now we need to find a Vraska's Contempt or something to deal with it. So we do have some outers, but still not looking good. Siphoner's okay. But yeah, gives us an extra draw. Opponent should have used the Oasis there. We'll go down to 4. I think I'd rather draw a card. And just hard cast a Greater Sandworm. That actually does make it extremely rough for me to... Plus, I didn't have the mana to draw a card there. So that's game. Womp womp. Very close, though. That was a flood there. Awkward. Very awkward. I'm not sure what we can do to upgrade this. It feels like I need more card draw, somewhere to get out of those sticky situations to where just drawn to nothing. But I mean, there was pretty good rips by my opponent grabbing the Awakening Sun's Avatar. We saw the hand. And yeah. Hey, we'll go on to the next match. All right, match number 2. This seems like a very keepable hand as we have a way to proactively rip out our opponent's answers, as well as draw some cards off the Siphoner, so we're going to keep it. I think we still have yet to see the exchange life total card in the games, the 3 games we've played. Maybe we have to bump that up to a 4 of, as it is the namesake of the deck. All right, our opponent leads off with a Forest. And we will lead off with Concealed Courtyard and pass the turn. Rootbound Crag, see if it's a cub. We do want to push that. It's one of the cards that can give us an issue later on. And we have some options here to either go the Siphoner or the Freebooter to try to rip out. I think I'm gonna see if we can hit one of their removal spells so that the Siphoner can stick around. I think we need the Siphoner to stick around. And we do hit a Blossom Defense. Ronus or Rogue Refiner will come out next turn. We have an answer for Ronus. Rogue Refiner is definitely annoying, as it allows... Actually, my opponent can't use it. That's right. No blue. So... we're just going to throw out the Siphoner. Kind of disappointed with it. We missed a land drop there. And we'll get in for 1. And my opponent found the Abrade. So this is not looking good for us. We have a backup Siphoner. And I believe we have one unknown card in our opponent's hand. And our opponent didn't draw land either, so we're in pretty good shape. There is the Spire Bluff. All right, so we get to draw a card off the Siphoner. Hopefully we hit a land. That would be, of course, ideal. Too bad we don't have the Machinations out this turn. I'm not sure Kitesail Freebooter is going to find anything, so we have the option to actually cycle the cast out, but I think we want that later on to deal with Ronus. Still no land. We found the Axis of Mortality. Ooh, that's... yeah, it ends up being a pretty... I think I have to cycle this cast out. I hate doing that, but we have to hit that land, but we did not hit it. The Rogue Refiner should come out next turn. I have a feeling we're going to flood out terribly bad here in the... coming turns. This allows us to draw a card, though, with the attack of the Ronus. So hopefully that gets us closer to where we need. The Ronus, though, is very, very rough. And again, throwing that cast out was awful, but I think we had to. Still, I think the Shuffler's going to punish us this game again. So I could go in with a Kitesail Freebooter. The problem with Ronus, it gives trample. I mean, we have blockers, though, for a good while. If there's some way we could bait out that energy, we could Fatal Push the Bristling Hydra. I still think I have to attack him with the Siphoner, and the Freebooter is just going to have to play backup. I hate giving back the Blossoming Defense, but I don't see a way around it. So we have a couple of options to play the Walking Ballista and just hope the energy is used on the Spire. Yeah, I think that's the better play. So let's hope our opponent just uses the Rogue Refiner, and on the stack, we can Fatal Push away the Bristling Hydra. That's my hope. But if my opponent plays correctly, that's not going to be an issue, as he'll just keep up the 3 mana over and over for, or the 3 energy for the Bristling Hydra. So I can block with the Walking Ballista here. I can block with both of them, because the Fatal Push now can happen. I think we just block the Ballista like this. It's going to go Heart of Quran. Yep, and my opponent is going to smartly not use the energy. All right, so we still need to make another. I have to continue at land drops at this point, though. I don't think I can get to the Axis of Mortality before Ronus just beats me down. I'll cast out as well is not a good top deck, because we have to take care of Heart of Khorans and cast and the Hydra at this point. And we find it, but see if we hit a Landa to back that up. We did. Okay, so we actually have a decent play. I can take care of Ronus. Or what's more important, to Fatal Push on the Heart of Khoran. Put out another Freebooter to possibly deal with the Hydra. Yeah, this gives us just a blocker. Maybe it can rip out something. Why the braid on this Kitesail? That is... Should have gone on the other one. Because could have got a Blossoming Defense back. Yeah, now unfortunately I don't think I run it. I need the Siphoner to block. Problem is too... My opponent's going to get back the Blossoming Defense, which I'm not too happy about. Wait, do I attack in here? This could bait out a Heart of Crown trying to crew. Because I put my opponent down to a 12. I think I do attack in. Because I don't want to lose this quite yet. Because that puts us at a top deck of another Machinations, right? Yeah, because I can then play it. That'll put my opponent at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I believe, if we draw a land too. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then Walking Ballista will, if I get a land, we can tap for enough for both of them. So we got to play your outs here. This also can bait out, my opponent wants to attack with a Heart of Koran, so it can bait out a Rogue Refiner here, and then we can sack the Gonti's Machinations to kill the Bristling Hydra on the stack after the Rogue Refiner. Surprised we're able to come back with this, though. I mean, that was a whole run of not hitting lands. The good news is we have a handful of just ammo. I mean, look at the card advantage. So yeah, on the stack. Oh no, my opponent didn't have to use... Why does he think he had to use an energy for the Spire Bluff? I'm thinking Aether Hub here. Yeah, okay, well, this just makes it tough to deal with. So I think we'll just end up fatal pushing the Heart and blocking the Ronus with the Kitesail. So my opponent is going to go for a crew. This is where it can get kind of scary. So it can use 2 energy to get up to lethal. And I can kill one of them. So can my opponent get up to lethal? Because I might want this Kitesail in the backswing because it can do... I'll have it down to 7, 3... No, I need the life. So blocking Ronus is still the correct play. I could bait it if I block the Heart. No, I still think we go here. This is awkward to use the life here because it puts us... I still will because we want to hit a land drop no matter what. And we did hit the Machinations, so, man, see if we hit the land. Oh, why does it do this to us? I'm just going to kill the Ronus. If my opponent gets any sort of removal spell, though, we just lose. No, I just lose anyway because of the Blossoming Defense. No, I'll go to 1. But I needed to attack in with this Glint-Sleeve. Ah, close game. Close game. I think I played everything that I could to try to get there. Let's see here. Am I thinking of this right? Because we have 8. Yeah, we either needed to hit another... No, another Machinations wouldn't have done anything. 3 for 5, 6, 7, 8 is where we get to. And with the Ballista, we could have been... Yeah, I don't think I have a choice but to cast out on Ronus. But I think now at this point, it's pretty much... I have to use the Siphoner to block. Yeah, I had to hit a land there. Would give me 3 more life to give us another turn. So I just could have attacked him with the Siphoner. And then had up to 9 life. Other than the Bristling Hydra can get up to the where it needs to be. So I blocked the Rogue Refiner, I believe. No, because the Bristling Hydra can get up to... With the Blossoming Defense, can get up to 6. And what? We can only... Yeah, we have to block the Bristling Hydra. And unfortunately, we don't have the Machinations. We have a Cub now we have to deal with. Insult to injury, it's still not going to provide us a land. Womp womp. That was a run. So only drew 2 lands out of... So 4 lands out of 21 cards. Okay, we'll go to the sideboard. So for this, I think Vraska's Contempt just comes in. We'll bring in a Fumigate. I'm not sure if like Bontu's Last Reckonings want to come in here or the Harvesters. A lot of times Harvesters are pretty good, but they start getting outclassed. My opponent is running a Braids to begin with. So, Freebooters are still good. Taking care of my opponent's removal for my Siphoners, I think, is pretty relevant. The Fatal Pushes I'm still going to keep in. So we can take out like a Bloodfast. I don't know if we want Bontu's Last Reckoning. Possibly do. This is a creature-based deck. And just take these out for the freebooters and the Bloodfast and this Glory. And then that only leaves us 12 creatures, so I think the 2 Harvesters are probably the right number. We're going to go ahead and keep this, and hopefully we don't hit the same issue that we had last game. And we're going up against the dreaded Attune draw, which makes it really rough if our opponent has the Cub. We do have the Fatal Push for the Cub. And that was a great draw because it sets up the Siphoner, but unfortunately I think the Siphoner is going to get abraded. Magma Spray and Attune, huh? Or there's a Rampager. Does take the energy away. I think we'll just slam out Gideon here. Hopefully my opponent will overextend, and that's the point where we'll use a Bontu's Last Reckoning. In fact, even next turn I can use a Reckoning. I definitely want to wait. There's a Heart of Kron. Now this is interesting. I could put out a Glint-Sleeve Siphoner. See, there's a defense in our opponent's hand. Okay, now we're in pretty good shape. Shut down the Heart of Kron. There's the Bristling Hydra. We are going to nullify, and I believe we throw out a Harvester. If my opponent wants to attack into Gideon, I'm perfectly okay with that. Oh, no, we'll have the ability to tap it down. Would I like to? Yeah, we'll go Harvester here. And this gives an opening for my opponent to accrue the Heart of Kron. But this also gives me a draw next turn without having to attack in with the Glint-Sleeve Siphoner. I think that's more important. Long Tusk Cub. One of the more annoying cards, but Bontu's Last Reckoning will handle it. And here we get to draw a card. Vraska's Contempt times 2. Still, we're dealing with that the lack of mana. We're kind of at the mercy. Tune of the Aether is very annoying because it puts the counters for the Cub. And my opponent decides not to do anything, so I think we might just cast out the Heart of Koran here at end of turn, because it's something that's harder to deal with than the Long Tusk Cub, I think, is. Could be another one in our opponent's hand, but I'm willing to make that. That trade. Unfortunately, we don't have anything to do with this. If we could get a Machinations. Okay, we do draw a card, a land this time, which is good. We want to do that. All right, so my opponent's going to go ahead and use some energy. I'm okay with that. Now the question is, do I want to run out the Bontu's Last Reckoning right now? I think I do. No, we'll wait a turn. I can chump block the Cub. We might end up getting better value. Getting rid of some energy. I doubt it, though. I think Bristling Hydra's coming in at Gideon. And I might actually just allow that to happen. I think that's fine. I think Gideon's at a reasonable loyalty. Resets it back to its original. And here I don't even know if this is the time to go over Vraska's Contempt to get rid of some more energy on the Hydra. Usually the deck is pretty good at generating it. Okay, so it does use it, but it gets rid of that energy. I could go Walking Ballista here and then start attacking in with the Siphoner to try to get me more card advantage. Probably need to start playing quicker too. Or I could just Vraska Contempt on the Hydra. Fumigate's another interesting card. I still think I want to leave my cards. So I'm going to Vraska's Contempt on the Bristling Hydra again. Could have got a Blossoming Defense. Gonna Harness Lightning his own Cub to get energy. Alright, so we're gonna have to Fumigate after this. So I probably should have done that first on the Bristling Hydra, but we'll go on the Long Tusk Cub here. Still out of energy, though. And we do have the Fumigate next turn that we can play. So we'll lose the Glint-Sleeve Siphoner, but that's fine. And hopefully my opponent will put out another creature this turn. Ugh. Hopefully 2 creatures this turn. We don't have to worry about like negates. Well, we got to the Axis, but we're still missing those lands. Fumigate's fine here. And are they running Glory Bringers? I'm going to go ahead and protect against Glorybringer. Might just have to go the beatdown route. A Brawler. Okay, Brawler's going to be something I can kill with a Ballista. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. And at this point, I think we just start the beatdown. And not going to win by switching life totals. We're just going to win by the Harvester and the Gideon becoming beatdown cards. Yeah, maybe more Fumigates and Reckonings in the sideboard is good. It's just, I don't feel like we have the slots to run the big anti-non-creature based deck type cards and like Duress and Lost Legacy and run like a huge package of creature removal. All right, so we have the Deadlands. Yeah, Axis of Mortality is not going to really be relevant here. As these cards become a quick clock. And we have some good backup with both the Deadlands and the Walking Ballista. And my opponent is flooded out. And it doesn't matter. He's just trying to burn off some more time. So we'll go ahead and crew. And swing in. So I have to play my game 3 incredibly quick. Not bad. Okay, so I still don't think I make many changes. The Harvester gets more interesting when I know there's Voltaic Brawlers in the mix, as this is more of an aggressive package. But they can be, you saw how hard they can be to actually crew. I actually think taking out an Axis of Mortality in this game is smart. I'll put in another Harvester. Possibly we should put in the full package of Harvesters and just go one Axis. If we draw it, we draw it. Unfortunately, this is going to be a mulligan. And this is capable. Put the Vraska's Contempt on top. Yeah, this seems to be more of an aggressive list with the Greenbelt Rampagers and the Voltaic Brawlers, so... And there is the dreaded Attune, first turn Attune, draw. And so I'm just going to go the Concealed Courtyard and pass, because I think that if my opponent puts out a 2-drop, we want to be able to take care of it with the Fatal Push before the Blossoming Defense is a thing. And that's not the one we wanted to do. All right, so we're going to go another Concealed Courtyard. Put out the Machinations. And we have Fatal Push for the Heart of Khorne. But unfortunately, hitting that land there wasn't ideal, because I think we're going to be in the opposite end of the spectrum this time. Gideon's actually surprisingly good in another sideboard role. Well, it gives us a play. But our opponent is very aggressive with the Brawler and the Rampager. I wish there was something in our color combination. There's also a white enchantment that pay 2 to prevent damage from a source that looked pretty reasonable for this deck, as with the Machinations combo of gaining energy, you can prevent a lot of damage. My opponent decides not to use. So if I draw a creature, we can just basically stonewall. What my opponent's doing, but unfortunately, the Flood is real. That's magic for you. Now the Axis of Mortality would be kind of funny if we could somehow get down to 3. But I don't see that happen in this game. And my opponent's not going to pump, so now we'll Vraska's Contempt the Brawler. I'm surprised it didn't pump the green belt. Just holds up mana. Cast out is really good, as it takes care of Ronis, but the green belt is still a very tough card for us to deal with. I'm going to use this right now before there's any sort of... This allows for us to draw a top deck Fumigate and still be in good shape, but my opponent has a lot of lands, or a lot of relevant cards, and we unfortunately are stuck with the Flood. And again, I'm going to use this right now. Oh, sorcery speed. I always forget that with the Deadlands. Well, we're at the 3 life we want to be at. The problem is we don't have the Axis of Mortality out. Would have been kind of fun if we had it this turn. Chuck it out. Another Rogue Refiner. So this is basically do or die right here to grab a board wipe. And that is that. Ooh, I can survive one more turn. But another tough. I feel like both of these games were due to just the runs of no lands, all lands. I think we're in a decent position if we had 2 more playable cards at this point. I'm glad my opponent is overextending. It allows for a top deck. And that's not a top deck. We'll win the next match. Match 3. I think this is keepable. We have double Siphoners. We have the Freebooter. We have a Fatal Push to take care of anything our opponent can put out early. We are going up against a match where we have some time to get things set up. There's another Freebooter. And that is a card we will push. Don't want that sticking around. And we'll put out a Freebooter next turn to try to proactively take care of one of my opponent's removal spells. Yeah, I think that's... Well, we can go Glint-Sleeve here. I want to get that going before... This forces my opponent to take care of my Glint-Sleeve Siphoner, so Fatal Push it. Which then allows me with Freebooter to take something else out without it getting Fatal Pushed. It's going to be a Ruin Raider. That's actually going to be tough to deal with. The card draw. I mean, that's another card we could... I don't think we want to put that in our... So I have some options. I can put out another Glint-Sleeve Siphoner, or I can throw out a... I think I'm going to go with the Glint-Sleeve. Gives us a blocker that can actually kill the Ruin Raider. This doesn't have Menace, right? Yeah, okay, it's just a 3-2. And we also can draw 2 cards now, this means. We also have aggressive little hand here. Okay, so the Fatal Push does happen. So the Ruin Raiders can attack in, so it gets the... Ooh, that's very risky on my opponent's part. Hits a Ruin Raider and a... What was the other card hit? A Vicious Conquistador. We get a Deadlands and a Plains. I think what the right play here is just to put out 2 Freebooters. And I don't think we're going to be winning this by exchanging life totals. We're just going to be winning this by... taking out my opponent's removal and having their Ruin Raiders. Is it a May ability? No, it's not. So we also have the Walking Ballista plus Gonti's Machinations we can top deck into, so... That's the plan. And that is very risky. Very risky. Hits a Cartouche, a Walk the Plank, and a Gifted Aetherborn, so we just win here. No, we don't actually quite win because the Walking Ballista can just get in. Oh, so we can pop down a Vicious Conquistador. The whole thing has got the Cartouche. I've got to keep up the Ballista for whatever the Cartouche hits. Because the Cartouche gives lifelink. Yeah, we're 1 land off. And my opponent does have a Walk the Plank to deal with. Gifted Aetherborn, Walk the Plank. What does Cartouche do? It's lifelink in creature gets -1, -1. I think the only way that I can go for it here is... Oh no, I win here. Duh. Okay, I see the out. I can do 5 damage. No, I can only do 4. Okay, never mind the duh. So I could attack it with the Glint-Sleeve Siphoner. We could attack it with everything and then see what happens. Okay. I'm glad we went that play because that ends up winning the game. Let's go to the sideboard. Of course, we're going to bring in like the Fumigate, the Last Reckonings, the Aethersphere Harvester. All of these are great. We can take out the Axis of Mortality. I don't think it's going to do anything. The whole purpose of the video was to play it, to try to run it out. But I think that this particular match, we just have to go control and get to the long game. Cast outs are actually not that great in this matchup. And I wonder if Vraska's Contempts are fine. Oh, the Freebooters are very awkward, so possibly just is a Duress just better? No, I think the cast outs actually probably are just slightly better. And we find the land. Okay, so that's good. Scrapheap Scrounger. Very tough card for us to deal with because it's... I'm glad we have the Vraska's Contempt for it. Because it's the perfect card to deal with a Scrounger. Harvester is going to be very good too. Once I get a creature to crew it. And if my opponent really overextends here, say puts out 2 more creatures, and no raid guy. The Machinations is interesting here, but what we're going to do is just throw out a Harvester. We need a way to crew it. Unfortunately, so far, that's a no-go. Still no raid creature. The raid creature's the rough one. I want my opponent just to throw out hopefully 2 creatures this turn. Might be like a lot of walk the planks that are in my opponent's hand. We're going to hold on to these Bontus for as long as possible. Next turn we can actually use a Vraska's Contempt on the Scrappy Scrounger. I'm okay with that play. The lifelink's not very relevant here. Maybe we will be switching life totals this turn. I mean, we have to dig for it, but if our opponent overextends and we get some pretty decent board wipes, some card advantage off of it. In fact, I think if my opponent puts out another 1-drop this turn, we will just run out the... No, we won't. I think it's just worthwhile now with the Scrapheap Scrounger to exile it. We're down to an 11. There's another land that we absolutely don't want. Still no creature to add to our... Okay, so it's definitely Vraska's Contempt on the scrap heap. Hoping my opponent like overextends even more and puts another one on it. Goes on the Vicious Conquistador rather than the scrap heap this time. Sure. I do have to pay a life. Not too happy about that. But the scrap heap goes bye-bye. We get a 2-for-1 there. And we do go down to a tricky life total of 9. Ballista would be good here. Ballista actually is good here. Allows us to crew the Harvester. This does give my opponent an opportunity to walk the plank on my Harvester. But my opponent's not in very good shape here with 4 cards left in hand. The life total, again, isn't relevant. I think this game is the game that we're going to try to switch the life totals. So it could go the distance. We only have 1 in, so that's a lot of... We have to bank on getting the... So we will crew here. Could be another walk the plank. Nope, just a scrap heap. Alright. So now my opponent can't attack in this turn. So we at least save some life with that Walking Ballista. Unfortunately, the secondary scrap heap is rough because I think I have to Bontus here. Alright, so let's hope for a creature, not a land. Unfortunately, it's a Concealed Courtyard. Gives us another Harvester. A Raider. Womp womp. That's the card we'd wanted to avoid our opponent getting. As it's going to keep filling back up the hand. The scrap heaps are very, very tough. So we go down to 5. I think the best case we can draw into is like a Walking Ballista. When it finds a Doomfall. Doomfall is actually tough because it gets rid of the Harvesters. And it doesn't matter, we drew another land. So the clutch top decks are not working out for us this game. I actually don't think we can do anything. I'm just going to, well, we can give it another turn. That scrap heap's gonna be very, very tough. Oh, Scorched Desert just wins now, right? That was a perfect card to draw. Because now it gets us down to 4. And the only thing I can do is get us up to a 7, and he's got 7 on board. The Deadlands, of course, is sorcery. Didn't activate it. I should have actually killed a Kitesail. Okay. Let's avoid these lands. I'm going to bring in the Axis. The Axis is this time. We're going to try to get a combo off. The cast outs actually need to stay in because they're a way to deal with. And I think the Harvesters seem really, really powerful, but possibly not. Possibly they are the weak link. Just if they get stuck like they did. There's not a lot of ways to crew them, only 12 cards in the entire deck. It would be something like a Mutavault would be great for a deck like this that we could activate and then crew the Harvester, because that works around the removal package that we have, like the Fumigate and the Bontus. Unfortunately, I don't believe there is an Exile Desert from your graveyard card that can activate, but that's it at the moment. Shambling Vent would have been a great card, for example, for this particular deck. Alright, yes, we like to play first. And it's fine. It's kind of slow. We have the Axis of Mortality and a Bontu's Last Reckoning. Possibly we should play the tap lands. The white-black tap lands. Those exist still in Standard, right? And there's a Dread Wanderer. Unfortunately, I think we will run out the Glint-Sleeve Siphoner. My opponent kept in like Walk the Plank type cards. So if he does have a Walk the Plank, a Kitesail Freebooter, we can actually take care of that later on with... I'm pretty sure my opponent will just take Gideon here. So I'm okay with that. That's fine. Fortunately, we miss we can't use the trigger quite yet. I hate to run out of Walking Ballista. It's too early. Like, I don't want to be removing my own creatures with the Last Reckoning. The Vanguard's okay. It can get us to where we need to be, but I have to start hitting land drop, as quickly as possible. So the opposite of last game, yet again. Which has been a theme of the deck, which is usually representative of a bad curve to begin with. I don't think our curve's that horrible, though. I think heavier on the Fumigates is better than on the Bontu's Last Reckonings for sure. But best case scenario is hit land. We'll practically get the Walking Ballista out. Oh, that hurts. And that's why I didn't want to play multiples. Womp womp. We'll go ahead and attack in with the Vanguard. I don't even want to run the Walking Ballista out. I don't think that we're at a point that it matters. That's actually a rough card, the Ifnir Deadlands, because it does take care of the Vanguard. Here will take the Reckoning, I'm sure. Oh, no, that's a creature card, Harsh Scrutiny. Wow, that's such a bad card to bring in versus us, but it worked. So I guess playing the Walking Ballista would have been nice there, but it's a little too late now. And the Axis of Mortality are way far away from being cast. That does get us closer. I kind of want to use it right now to get back Gideon, but I think I'll wait a turn. Yeah, next turn we definitely need to use it. Keep in mind our lands won't untap. 2 cards still in my opponent's hand, don't know what they are. Vraska's Contempt actually can take care of the Gifted Aetherborn. But I think I'd rather Bontu, so we're going to give it Indestructible. Opponent's down to a 9. The Deadlands does take care of the Vanguard, if my opponent so chooses. However, lands will not untap this turn, so there's no chance for getting. The best case scenario is we draw a land. A black source, of course. Okay, so it takes care of the Deadlands, that's fine. Unfortunately, we do not draw what we need, but the Fatal Push will be good. That's actually a good play because it allows us to go Fatal Push and Gideon. We've avoided the dreaded scrap heaps. Huh. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, that allows us to Fatal Push and Gideon still. And then we find the land here, so we're going to do it right now. No, I'm not going to worry about it. Another Deadlands. Oh, that's the card I wanted to avoid. However, my opponent has an option to attack me with this Gifted Aetherborn, and then we can smash in with the Gideon. It could hit. Okay, so my opponent is going to go that route. Gets prevented, but it does the raid trigger. So I actually want the raid trigger to hit something like another Ruin Raider. That'd be ideal. Hits a swamp. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to attack in with Okay, this is pretty good. We're going to go Axis of Mortality. Prevent this. And this gives us some outs. Unfortunately, my opponent's at a very high life total, so... or very low life total, so... Alright, Harsh Scrutiny is just pointless. Misses everything. I doubt Gifted Aetherborn attacks in. Puts my opponent in a weird position. So we are going to be able to switch a Rui. Returns a Dread Wanderer. And we will switch, which at this point doesn't do a lot. But this allows us to now draw into lands we don't want. But I mean, the more lands the merrier now. Well, not really the more lands the merrier, but we get to Vraska's Contempt on the Gifted Aetherborn and swing in with Gideon, forcing the block on the Ruin Raider. And my opponent's just going to scoop it up. Doesn't quite scoop here, but because blocks with the Ruin Raider has a 2/2 back. We did it. We exchanged our opponent's life. It's a lot harder than it needs to be, though. Oh, fun. Okay, we'll play one more. Match 4. This is a very risky hand. We're on the draw, though. I think I'll keep it. We have some potential of drawing into either Glint-Sleeve Siphoner or any sort of white land, and we're in pretty decent shape. That was not a white land. We'll go Machinations here. And this is a matchup I did want to see. That's where I think Fumigates can be a lot better. Harvesters are really good versus this match. But I think the silver lining of this is just I really like the combination of the Machinations and the Glint-Sleeve Siphoner. I think it's a great combo for card draw. For like even control matchups. And this isn't bad in like an aggressive shell. 3 damage off 1 card. It's a Lava Spike. Freebooter's fine here. Takes care of a Lightning Strike or some sort of removal spell. And gives us something to crew. Or just plain misses. So, meaning we can just block one of these cards. Probably going to play the Crop Crasher, I would assume, this turn. Exert it. That'd be my guess. I'm hoping so. The exert happens. Because I don't want to block regardless with Kitesail. Yeah, we're gonna let that happen because I want the Harvester. Now we have a backup Harvester. And so far, there's a lot of unknowns in my opponent's hand. There's two unknowns, right? Because we know about the... Oh no, we know it's a Soulscar Mage and a... Yeah, I think that's what we know is in hand. No, there is one unknown, yeah. Scavenger Grounds. So let's see if there's some sort of Abrade. Because it's a bad attack and my opponent doesn't have an Abrade. And we'll take the Exerter. You would use Abrade no matter what before, right? A Lightning Strike, so that means we do not have to run out the... That was a good top deck there. That's fine. Yeah, we won't run out the energy. Should have waited till I ran out the energy there. But we do block 6 damage, which is relevant. But we do know it's Hazoret is the last card, which is going to be miserable for us to deal with next turn. Still not a card that I want to be playing at the moment. It does give us an answer for the Hazoret. Good news is we also have the Machinations too. I don't know if I can win this. Oh, I gain life off the Harvester, so Hazard's coming down. Okay, I think my opponent should have just attacked in with Hazoret. So we'll crew. And what we really need to draw into is a cast out next turn. Not the right color. It's also not enough mana, so we are definitely at the mercy of... I think we just lose here. Needed to be a white source. Yeah, I got to find a solution for our mana base. I think just playing those tap lands is the right call. We'd have lots of answers for this deck. Vraska's Contempt, the cast outs are really good for the Hazoret. Can go Lightning Strike to my face, which gives double prowess, which means no matter how I do this, like Vraska's Contempt could actually get me out of this if there was a Vraska's Contempt, but yeah. Go on to the sideboard. That was rough. All right, the Axis of Mortality. We'll go down to 2 of. Duress isn't bad in this particular match. It can rip out a lot of removal-based spells. The Freebooter also isn't bad either, but I think we need to bring in the removal packages. Glorifier's been weird in all of these matchups. The Freebooter is just, I think it's just bad. The Bloodfast is also a card that I don't think is going to get there. Yeah, we'll just go down one of the Axis. We need to just stabilize. I highly doubt we're going to win this by switching life total. We're going to win this by just grinding out our opponent. And I think the Harvesters will be key. The 12 creatures is very awkward to try to crew them. Maybe I should have just kept with the Kitesails. Yeah, probably. Unfortunately, we're struggling from these mana issues. Same thing with this one. I could keep it and YOLO for another land, but I think this is the best we can hope for. Put that on top. Start off with a... Yeah, this is pretty tough because I'm pretty sure the Siphoner will be taken care of in 9 out of 10 scenarios, and we need it to hit. So the mulligan really hurt. I need to fail push whatever comes out here. And if my opponent's smart, they'll take care of the Glint-Sleeve Siphoner just with a Lightning Strike or a Magma Spray or something that along those lines. Hope they're greedy and play an Earthshaker Kenra here. Nothing. All right, so there's a Walking Ballista. At least it gives us something to do. We'll throw out the Swamp. I'm not going to play the Walking Ballista quite yet. Well, I'm glad they allowed us to at least draw a card. That was kind of them. But the mulligan to 5 is still very, very rough. We're missing the white source again this game. So we've gone from games of missing black sources to games missing white sources. The mana base is definitely out of whack. There's the Crasher, which is a rough card. But we do have the Vraska's Contempt for it. There's a Plains. It's not a card I want, though. It is... Actually, I want to draw into something like a Harvester, something relevant to stop the bleeding. I want to save the Vraska's Contempt for Hazoret, but I don't think there's much of an option here. We have to use it. And an Aethersphere Harvester of our opponent's own. Well, our land at least came in handy there. And there's the Hazoret, which is what I wanted the Contempt for. The Axis of Mortality is pretty awkward. but it may get the job done. Did I use my... energy somewhere on accident? Uh-oh. That is going to be rough. When did I use it? Oh, for Glint-Sleeve Siphoner. Okay. So what we need to draw into is a Plains. Now I'm wishing I would have... Well, because it doesn't matter what I did with the land there. No! We needed that to hit. Or to stick around. Do you know what? I probably actually don't want to do that. So we have one turn to hit a... We have a couple of outs. We have Vraskas. We have... That does not do it. And I believe that's over. Deck is too awkward. We'll have to mess with things. We're just getting wrecked by the mana base. The mana base has probably lost us the game. I would say 80% of the time. Of missing land drops, hitting too many land drops, not hitting white sources, not hitting black sources. And usually that's, you know, one time, two time, it can be bad luck, but this many times it's pretty indicative of a bad mana base. So I'm going to mess around with that. And I'll play some more matchups on my channel, see if we can... I think Fumigate is the card to go up in. In most cases, I think it's just better than the Bontu's Last Reckoning. I know that you can get the Bontu's out earlier, so any sort of deck that swarms out quicker, like a turn 4, you can use a Bontu, and even a turn 5 and hold up mana to do other things. But in most case scenarios, once you get to turn 5, the Fumigate is just better. So, again, I hope you enjoyed just the idea of the deck. Huge shout out to Tyler for the idea. Unfortunately, we didn't get the best gameplay going on this time, and didn't even get to see exchanging life points that often. That last one would have been interesting if we could just slapped it down. I think that we could have barely survived another hit and then exchanged the life total, and then at that point it's just top decking into another Ballista or into a Machinations at that point. So that is worthwhile to mess around with. Obviously, I didn't choose the right cards to go in the deck. Kevin with GatheringMagic.com to come check out my channel, YouTube/RogueDeckBuilder for the other matchups. And you can see Tyler's article over at RogueDeckBuilder.com. Thanks for watching.